Richard Foster describes this as the Christian discipline of an inward reality that results in an outward lifestyle. We cannot possess an inward reality without it having an effect on how we live. Thomas Kelly calls this theory the divine center. His book explains how our speech will become truthful and honest, and our lust for status will cease to exist. Our eyes will be cleared from the superficial lifestyle society has blinded and convinced us to live by. When we lack a divine center, our desire for fulfillment leads us into our attachment to things. The media has persuaded us to believe if we are not wearing our trendy brands, then we are out of sync with reality. Our book refers to this ideology as a sick society, and conforming to it will also make us sick. Now, what is sickness? A consumer society.
Man, I see in Fight Club the strongest and smartest men who've ever lived. I see all this potential, and I see it squandered. God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. We're the middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no great war, no great depression. Our great war is a spiritual war. Our great depression is our lives. We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't. We're slowly learning that fact.
I don't know, it's just when you buy furniture, you tell yourself, that's it, that's the last sofa I'm gonna need. Whatever else happens, I've got that sofa problem handled. I had it all. I had a stairwell that was very decent, a wardrobe that was getting very respectable. I was close to being complete.
Shit, man, now it's all gone.
All gone. All gone.
Do you know what a duvet is?
Comfort.
It's a blanket. Just a blanket. And why do guys like you and I know what a duvet is? Is this essential to our survival in the hunter-gatherer sense of the word? No. What are we then?
Consumers.
Right. We are consumers. We are byproducts of a lifestyle obsession. Murder, crime, poverty, these things don't concern me. What concerns me are celebrity magazines, television with 500 channels, some guy's name on my underwear, Rogaine, Viagra, Olestra.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart. Martha's polishing the brass on the Titanic. It's all going down, man. So f*** off with your sofa units and string green stripe patterns. I say never be complete. I say stop being perfect. I say let's evolve. Let the chips fall where they may. That's me. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a terrible tragedy.
It's just stuff. It's not tragedy.
Well, you did lose a lot of versatile solutions for modern living.
You're right. My insurance is probably going to cover it. So. What?
The things you own end up owning you. But do what you like. You're not your job. You're not how much money you have in the bank. You're not the car you drive. You're not the contents of your wallet. You're not your f***ing khakis.
Now that we have a clear understanding of what a consumer society is, let's find out what the Bible has to say about this. The book of Matthew advises us not to lay up treasures on earth because where our treasure is, there also is our heart. Jesus also said, "Take heed and beware of all covetousness, for a man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." Jesus addresses economics more than any other social issue in the Bible. So here's something to think about. Richard Foster proposes the question, if, in a comparatively simple society, God makes such strong emphasis on the spiritual dangers of wealth, how much more should we, who live in a highly affluent culture, take this economic issue seriously? From an educational standpoint, the consumer society all boils down to one thing: money. Children are growing up thinking they need to get a degree in a field that will afford them what they need to live in this materialistic life they see in the media. They will waste years filling the void that comes from lack of their divine center. It is far more fulfilling to find your center and live a life you truly desire.
What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? Let's suppose, I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't the faintest idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Or another person says, well, I'd like to live an out-of-doors life and ride horses. I say, do you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want to do? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, you can eventually turn it, you could eventually become a master of it. It's the only way to become a master of something, to be really with it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. And anything you can be interested in, you will find others who are. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like and doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow in the same track. See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children and educating them to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing, so it's all wretch and no vomit. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question: what do I desire?
Simplicity is the only sufficient way to change the direction of our consumer society. The secret is not renouncing your possessions altogether, but rather to set them into a proper perspective. It is possible to enjoy your possessions without allowing them to destroy you.
Of all the things the discipline teaches us in the Bible and Christianity, a lot of the time simplicity is the most ignored because it challenges our daily lifestyle and our possessions. No one feels comfortable with giving up what they feel they own because we like to be in control of what we think we have. Jesus tells us not to be anxious about our lives and what we shall eat or even drink, nor about our bodies and what we shall put on. He wants us to know that the value of life is far more superior to what we own or even what we eat or drink. The central point to the discipline is just us to seek the kingdom of God first, and everything else should follow after that in their correct orders. So as long as you believe in God and seek Him first, then that'll put everything else in order. Your family, your cars, your house, your money. This produces an inward reality. Simplicity involves a life of joyful unconcern for your possessions. So you shouldn't feel tied down to anything you own or anything you possess. He says that people that are greedy and materialistic oftentimes will never feel the freedom of this liberty because they're so tied down and anxious to everything they own. Freedom from anxiety caused by possessions requires three main attitudes and ways to live by. The first one is to receive what we have as a gift from God. We need to view everything we have as a gift from God and take nothing for granted. What we have should not be viewed as the results of our own labor, even though we like to think of it that way. A lot of the times what we have are given to us by the graciousness of God Himself. God is the only one that gives us the basic necessities of life, water, air, and the sun. The second one is to know that it is God's business, not ours, to care for what we have. And a lot of the times in our society, we're taught to lock things up, our house, our car, in fear of what might happen to them or what others might do to them. And a lot of the times you just have to trust God that nothing will happen to them and that He'll keep all your possessions safe. It's little things like trusting in Him that you will keep your job, or you'll stay healthy, or your family will return home safely from wherever they've been. The third way to live is to have our goods available to others. This is a difficult situation for many of us because we fear what people might do to our possessions. We cling to our possessions rather than sharing them because we are anxious about tomorrow and what the future holds. If God is who we believe Him to be, we must not worry. We can share because we know He will care for us. These three attitudes are what Jesus coined as living without anxiety, free of possession. This is the inner reality of Christian simplicity. Until we learn to live this way, everything we view as necessary for life cannot fully be ours.
The inner reality of simplicity can't become real until others can start seeing it through the way you live. Here's a video showing a few different definitions of simplicity.
Am I staring at the camera? Should I start? Yes?
It's something that liberates you rather than constrain you. It actually amplifies possibilities.
It empowers us to think differently, to have a point of view and to express the truth.
It helps you to stand out from others, to cut through the clutter.
You have to remove things that are superfluous. That's true, but you also have to focus about what are the things that really separate you and make you distinctive.
You find what's really true, and once you've found that truth, you can use it to explode creativity in all sorts of different directions.
It's about diversity, it's about richness. I'm going to start again, yeah?
It's about knowing what you want to do and having the confidence and the courage to do it well.
Being able to see what you need to see clearly, being able to distill the very essence of something.
It's clear, it's concise, it's easily understood.
It's not about stripping away totally, it's not about blandness, it's about touching me in my heart.
Ask me a question again.
I think it's about really cutting through the fluff, about understanding actually who you're talking to.
If you speak with clarity and purpose, then people listen to you. And because you're easier to understand, you're more meaningful to people. You shine more brightly. I'm losing it. I want to say that again.
Am I the worst?
Shall I start again?
The process is magical. You start off with one thing, and then like a rabbit out of a hat, it becomes something else. Adding clarity to everyday life.
To achieve clear reporting and communications. It just allows us to bring a brand to life.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Is that any good?
Cut. Retake. Hi.
Simplicity is magic.
When it comes to simplicity, there's a few different principles that we can follow. First, buy things for their usefulness, not their status. Items like cars, houses, clothing are often bought to impress others instead of just to be used how we need them. We often get caught up in trying to keep up with the latest fashion or what's in, but in reality, we should just have what we need to get by. And if we can do this, we can start to impress others with how we live and how we act rather than what we have. And that's gonna
really improve your relationships with other people. This video shows us how crazy we've become with our possessions today.
I hate when my phone charger won't reach my bed. I hate when my little seats aren't heated.
When I go to the bathroom and I forget my phone.
Le mette radio dans machine à laver, yo commence sentir.
I hate it when my house is so big. I need 2 wireless washers.
When my maid gun makes my hot water taste too cold. When I have to write my maid a check, but I forget her last name.
M'pa ka écrit message devant marcher en même temps.
Moi te quitté casse-moi en bas.
Moi raï les voisins bloqué internet là.
I hate it when I tell them no pickles and they still give me pickles.
Secondly, reject anything that is producing an addiction in you. This can be anything from alcohol to TV to chocolate to money. I mean, I think that I'm addicted to Netflix. Once you can get rid of this and just start to live without it, you're going to be free from it and not bound to it anymore. And that's going to make your life a lot more simple. Third, develop a habit of giving things away. If you notice that you're starting to become too attached to something or too close to something, consider just giving it to someone else. When we do this, we can just really experience fulfillment from helping out someone else, but also getting rid of what was becoming a burden to us. A lot of times, people will give stuff away, but it doesn't have a lot of meaning to them. If one of us today gave away half of our possessions, we probably wouldn't even notice for a week because we have so much stuff. So you have to make sure that it's something valuable to you, something that has a lot of meaning to you. Fourth, refuse the need to keep up with the latest technology. How many times have we seen the new iPhone come out and we need to go upgrade our phone even though the one we have works perfectly fine, we just have to get the new one. This is something that I'm definitely guilty of too. Fifth, learn to enjoy things without owning them. A lot of times we think if we own something, then we can control it. And then if we control it, then it's gonna just complete us. But that's not the case. A lot of times we end up owning it and then we become too attached to it. And it's possible to just enjoy things without possessing them. 6, enjoy the outdoors, respect creation, maybe just take a walk someday. It's actually really nice. Some days on campus, I have a break between classes, so I just walk to Central Market to get lunch rather than drive because I don't really want to lose my parking spot on campus. So I've just been walking, and it's actually really nice when it's not freezing cold, but it's kind of relaxing just to be able to have a few minutes to myself to walk outside. 7, don't fall for the buy now, pay later plan because this is just a way to bind you to an item, and that can lead to you becoming too attached to the item or maybe even an addiction. 8, obey God's instruction about simple speech. Matthew 5:37 says, "Let what you say be simply yes or no, and anything more than this is evil." Once we can learn to mean what we say and say what we mean, our lives are going to be a lot more simple, even though this is often pretty hard to do. 9, reject anything that breeds the oppression of others. This can be anything from buying products from a company that's oppressing people in other countries to just being friends with someone who is constantly hurting others. 10, shun anything that distracts you from seeking first the kingdom of God. Because this is the whole idea behind simplicity. Once we seek first the kingdom of God, everything else in our life just starts to come naturally, and we can really begin to live a simple life.